loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
It's time for another conversation. The name is Noreen Daly, and welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. Now, this topic I think is a little quote-unquote longish, but you will understand when I introduce the person to you why it is this way. What we're going to be talking about this time around is how to navigate the familial space and the different roles while having healthy relationships. I'm about to have a conversation with one of my favorite cousins, and this is not news to her. And those who will hear this, that's too bad if they feel bad. But I've gotten to a point in my life where I tell people how I feel about them. So we're gonna be having a conversation with Janine Lewis, who is currently living in Grand Cayman. So we're doing this via the phone. Thank God for technology. And in her being, welcome, Janine.
Hi, good afternoon.
Okay. In her being one of my favorite cousins, she also obviously has different roles. So one of the things that I've always admired about Janine and why it's easy to connect with her is that it's not somebody who I'd see very often, because if for those of you who currently live in Jamaica or used to live in Jamaica, you know how it is sometimes when you have the cousins who live in town. The cousins who live in town, you don't see them very often. And Janine was one of those cousins. But it is the kind of relationship that whenever we would meet up, we would be able to sit and talk. And even years later, we're in different countries, we still have that connection. And I do believe it's not one-sided. Amen?
Amen. That is so true. I definitely have to agree with that.
Good stuff. So this is how we're going to do this. Janine is somebody who has, I have noticed, is always one who, whenever we're in any family setting, she relates to everybody regardless of the connection very well. So how we're going to do this now is we're going to first talk about the cousin bit, which would be Janine and I. Then we're going to talk about her as a sister, her as an aunt, her as a niece, and then we're going to end with her as a daughter. So it's all a lot to just give people ideas. If it is that in some way you are currently in one of these roles and somehow you're not sure how to navigate it and still, play these different roles, and still have healthy connections, healthy relationships, I'm hoping from hearing from Janine or from our experience that it will help you. So Janine, why do you think we're going to start out with what we have? Technically, I think what it is, Janine's mother is actually my cousin. So Janine and I are second cousins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes,
I mean, that's what
cousins indeed.
right. I mean, and Janine and I are actually closer than I am with her mother. But yeah, that's how it is. Janine, why do you think over the years, even though we've never been in the same space for an extended period or in terms of living together, anytime we see each other, whether at family functions or if I visit your house or you visit my house, that we've always been able to have a good connection? Why?
Well, I think one of the main things is because we're family.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. But it boils down, I guess, to some extent to our outlook on life, how it is that we approach life, how it is that we communicate as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess as well, you can also include the relationship with God, because we can't really do anything without that relationship first either.
True.
So we have a lot of that. I think what actually started off our relationship, though,
mm-hmm.
and it's quite funny. I keep looking at it and saying that it's quite funny. You didn't want us because Mom would always introduce any of our relatives as, this is your aunt so-and-so, this is your uncle so-and-so. And you were not too fond of the whole aunt or anything like that. So I remember having to be saying to myself, okay, this is taking my mind, auntie, and then I say the word, actually, your name out loud, Noreen. So I started off
Yeah, but I am no
relating
auntie.
to you like that.
Right.
I know you're not any auntie, but because of how mom or my mom introduced me to you, and she introduced us also based on the fact that, you know, we're relatives, you're older than I am, so you actually basically have some level of respect for you. So she, in doing that, she always introduced, especially relatives who are older, as auntie so-and-so, uncle so-and-so.
Yeah, and it took some retraining before, because I don't think at this point you still say the auntie in your mind.
Oh, no. No, please. Noreen comes so easy.
Good. So we've transitioned.
I ended up having to train Vanessa.
Yes, because it took her a while to make that transition. Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. I think
and then you're also a very friendly person too. You can, there are certain people who want to get into a space with them, conversation becomes so natural, and you're one of those people too.
I know you've been enjoying the conversation, but we're going to take a little break and get a word from our sponsor.
Does your business lack branding? Having difficulty realizing your vision? Look no further. Splinth Brand Design Consultancy specializes in developing personal and business brands. Services include strategic management, website creation, social media branding, and more. Visit them online at www.wearesplint.com. Splinth, the brand you need to succeed.
I said the same about you. And what for me, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, the older you get, because there are a lot of family members, and I'm sure everybody can relate to this. Not every family member can then transition into being your friend. There's some family member that you will be in the same space, and yes, you know that they're family, and you will tolerate them for the time that you have to tolerate them. You and I have never had to do that, because we have grown together. And even though, yes, there is a big gap in our ages, but yet we're still able to relate. There are things that I can talk to you about that I probably wouldn't talk to people even my own age about, because of how comfortable I feel just sharing. And as you transition to another type of relationship, I think one of the things that I continue to appreciate is that I can talk to you and I know I'm not being judged. I'm just sharing and you will listen. But at the same time, if it is that you think that I am doing something that is not right, or no, cause you can do better, you will say no, cause. Yeah. Right. So I think that's one of the things that continue to keep us connected, because we've been able to share so many things about we've been able to share different things, and it's not that they're only certain topics that are safe with us. Yeah. And for somebody who's listening, it takes work. But at the same time, if it is that it doesn't come natural, that is cause for concern. And for both of us, I think if we had to make much of an effort to...
It would be so easy for us.
Say that again?
It would be so easy for us.
To
be able to, if we're to put in any effort in the relationship, if we're to put in more effort into what it is that we do, how is it that we communicate, how often we communicate really, then it would be so effortless for us.
True. And I appreciate that. As we transition to another relationship though, your relationship with your sister, how do you then navigate that space, and especially now both of you are in different countries, to make sure you still have a healthy relationship with her?
All right, so this is a kind of a little touchy topic, but I would say that my relationship with my sister, it actually started off somewhat a little bit rocky. We've always been fairly close, but there's also that understanding that, you know, you're this big sister and the little one, because she's older than I am. For persons who don't know, I have an older sister and a younger brother. So she's older than I am, and we grew up quite nice together. We've grown up even knowing to share each other's clothes. But at the same time, you know, the older sister always has to sometimes, you know, show her authority
Okay.
as the older sister. And I don't think that I was very much close with her younger. However, know that we have, not that we were close,
but
I do find that at times, you know, I would end up probably talking more with my brother, my younger brother, than going to her to talk to her.
Okay.
But I do realize that now that we're both in separate countries, we communicate a lot better. We call each other, if not every day. There definitely doesn't go at least 3 days without us not communicating. And even if it's just to say, hi, how you doing, sis? I'm just checking up on you.
Nice.
You all right?
Nice.
And that's it. And I've also gotten to the point where I can sit down and talk to her about what's going on in my life. Probably ask her for advice. I think, to be honest, now more than ever, I end up asking her for advice on a situation, whatever it is that I'm doing. I'll quickly probably call her up now and say, Van, what do you think about this? How do I go about this? And she will give me her point of view, and I'm like, that makes sense. And I will say, I'll try.
Nice. And you made reference to your younger brother. How's your relationship with your younger brother?
My relationship with him, I can't say that it is as good as before.
Okay.
I think there is no the switch, but it is more. I guess it's more of an understanding with him, because he's working, and he from he started working, it has definitely been a little bit crazy.
Okay.
And hectic. But growing up with him, being the older sister, he's who basically grew up sleeping in the same room, in the same bed with. So I was able to have that conversation with him, that kind of pillow talk conversation, you know, with my brother from early on. You know, Joseph, XYZ, I never like how mommy and daddy did deal with us like this.
Right.
And stuff like that, I would sit down and reason it out and all. No, I guess with the distance and also the fact that we are both working persons, we don't talk as often. But nonetheless, if I call him and say, Joseph, I need someone to listen to me and have a problem or anything like that, he will say, all right, give me a few and I'll call you back.
Nice.
So even though we don't talk as often, but I know for sure that he's still there to listen. And he knows as well that, hey, Jan, if I need you, if I need to talk to you, then I can contact you. And he knows that I'm also there for him. So even though the relationships may seem as if, we don't talk as often, the love and everything is still there for sure.
It's not easy navigating the different roles that we have to play in the different types of relationships. So stay tuned. We'll conclude the conversation next week.
Making you last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.